Hey folks, this is Buster from Buster's Motorsports. I want to do a quick down and dirty on some Cummins turbocharger selection. And so basically what I'm going to look at is a 3000 RPM 5.9 Cummins, looking for 800 horsepower. It's a nice round number. 800 horsepower is possible out of the 12 millimeter stock pump. And so basically, in order to get 800 horsepower, you need to move 80 pounds a minute of air through your engine. So we're going to go to compressor map. Very, very common. This is your basic 475, which is 1702. It's a cheap box turbo. 75 millimeter turbine and a 75 millimeter compressor, 76 millimeter turbine. So in order to get 80 pounds of air at a 4.6 pressure ratio, and that's basically how many times of absolute pressure you're compressing the air into the engine to, or 3.6 boost, which is above atmospheric. Basically, cut to the chase, you need 54 pounds of boost and 80 pounds a minute of air. This is rough calculations, but okay, so here's a 475. All right, so here's 79. This is the 79 pound a minute line. You go up to 3.7, 4.1, 4.4, 4.8. So somewhere basically in here. So there is, actually it'd be a tiny bit this way because that's a 79 line. So 80 pounds a minute at 4.6 puts you at the very limit of what a S475 box turbo can do. See that? We're at 105,000 RPMs. We're all the way down to about 67% compressor efficiency, but there it is. And I have actually seen that it can be done. Stock 12 millimeter pump with a 475 on a 5.9 will make over 800 horsepower. That was a 24 valve P-pump conversion, but the 12 valve's not far behind it. So 800. Now let's look at a different turbo. Let's say, let's go to a 369. That's a real popular turbo. You say, well, you know what? I want a little bit better spool. I want to go to a 369. 369. So we go over here to 80 pounds, and we go up to that 4.6 pressure ratio line, which is right here. So we're at the 68%. Oops, I'm sorry, I didn't have the camera. So we're at the 68% efficiency line at 4.6. So the compressor of the S369 is capable of 800 horsepower in the 5.9 Cummins. However, the turbine is a little on the small side, and you can't just make the compressor map work. If you make the compressor map work, but your exhaust back pressure is through the roof, you're not going to make the numbers. Here's another, I guess this one just came out. This is actually the 372. So again, let's go, there's an 80 pound a minute line. Let's take it up to 4.6. And that's actually only about 64% efficient. But there again, it is possible in the 300 size frame if the exhaust back pressure can be kept in check. And that's what I don't know. Yeah, maybe it can with some fancy wastegating, but let's go a little bigger. Well, I mean, let me go back. All right, 366, that's a real popular one. So here we go. 366, we'll go to the 80 pound line, go up to 4.6, up, 4.6. We're a little bit above the maximum RPM. This one's not given an RPM, it's meters per second of probably the leading edge of the compressor wheel. So technically, a 366 would do 800 horsepower, but it ain't gonna last long, and probably you'll have so much exhaust pressure because of the smaller turbine that it's not gonna. It probably won't make the number. So anyway, there's no use going any smaller than that. Oh, what the heck? Let's go smaller. Let's say you got a 364. There's your 80. Okay, there's the 80 pound a minute line. Up, up, up. We're looking at 4.6. How about that? Look at that. That dude is off the top of the chart. You are beyond the RPM limit of that turbo, but I will tell you that it won't blow up the first time you do it. So technically, a 364 would make 800 horsepower. There again, the turbine is going to be the limiting factor. So anyway, we're not going any smaller than 364. Okay, let's go a little bigger. Let's go to, well, here's an interesting one. The good old 467. That's a good one. 467, 80 pounds a minute up to the 4.6. The 4.6 pressure ratio line. That is about 67% efficient. So that's a viable option. There again, you're subject to the turbine restriction because the 467 only comes in the smaller turbine, but it is doable. Let's go over here. Let's say, let's do a 480. Okay, 480. That's going to make that power very comfortably, I do believe, I would say. So we go up, 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 up the 80 line to the 4 point. Oh, you know what? Look at that. That's very interesting. So the 480 with the 5.9 Cummins is not happy. You are actually going to have some surge. Now we're at 3,000 RPM. If you crank that up to 4,000 RPM, it's a whole different ball game. But I'm using 3 for this video just because pretty much everybody's capable of 3,000 RPM. The stock camshaft's going to make power at 3,000. You know, a set of 4K springs will probably make power at 3,000. So 3,000 is doable. Obviously the 480, if the 480 wasn't happy, the 483 is not going to be happy either. But let's just look anyway. So up the 80 pound a minute line to 4.6. Yep, off the chart again. It's going to be going. We've all heard that noise before. So now BorgWarner has these new SXE turbos now. Let's do a 472 SXE. We go to the 80 pound line. Go up the 80 pound line to, we need 4.6 pressure ratio, which is basically 54 pounds on your gauge. That is in the 67% efficiency range. It's not going to be an overspeed. So that's pretty good, because to get that same horsepower out of a 72 millimeter versus going to the 475, it's always good if you can make it with a little less. I got a feeling this one's really going to be sweet, or I could be wrong. Let's see. This is a 476. We don't have an 80 pound. We have an 81 pound a minute. We'll just use it anyway. What's another 10 horse? Up you go to the 4.6 line, and it's on the chart. It's close to a surge, but it is on the chart. So, let's see. What else do we have? We have a 480 SXE. I can already see that's going to be off the chart. So the SXE does give you a little bit. I really like that 72 SXE. You know, here's an interesting. Let's check out the 471. 471, the non-SXE, just your regular. Actually, let's do the 472. Okay, so up the 80. Sorry, people, I keep getting up the 80 pound line to 4.6, and that's on the chart. It's not in the greatest spot, but you got a little bit of room between surge, and then over to the 4.6 line, which is where we're at. So a 472. Oh, wait a minute. You know what? I didn't mean to. This is the SXE. Never mind. I want the cheap 472. And just in case you wonder, I have the paper version here, but this catalog's online pretty readily. Sorry, let me look for that 472, the non-SXE. I might not actually have that. Okay, maybe this is it. Let's see. That's 74, 74. 80. Well, darn. I really wanted to see that. And I probably, if I take a little more time. Anyway, the 472 SXE will make the number. I'm going to imagine that the 471, the non-SXE, just your box cheapo S400, is probably capable of making the number. I'm just going to guess. Oh, here's a 476. Here's a 476 non-SXE. I don't think I did this one yet. So 80 pounds up to 4.6. You're on the map. 66% efficiency, which is not good, but you're on the map. So a 476 non-SXE turbo will make that number also. Bear with me, man. I really was hoping to find because the 471 is another nice cheap turbo. So anyway, that's it for today. I just wanted to give a quick down and dirty on, and those of you that know this craft better than I know that I'm not taking a lot of things into consideration. But the bottom line is, if your compressor will flow, because it's a roughly, for every, if you got 80 pounds a minute of airflow, that equals about 800 horsepower. It's like a 10-to-1 ratio. And that's rough, so I don't want a bunch of hate comments about how that's all. But it is roughly a accurate number. So anyway, if you make the number, you get your 80 pounds a minute, and you don't take, which is, you gotta have the pounds per minute, but you also have to have enough pressure ratio. So you gotta have 54 pounds on your gauge at 80 pounds a minute to make that number. Now, you can't have 100 pounds of back pressure and still make that number. So if you take a 475 with the 83 millimeter turbine and put it on there, you're going to have probably 80, 90 pounds of back pressure to get that 54 pounds, and that's not going to work. It's going to take away, it's going to cause a lot of heat. So anyway, I think that's enough for this time. Maybe next time we'll look at some compound stuff.